All content is publicly sourced and used under the USA Fair Use and UK Fair Dealing Guidelines. The things I say are strictly my opinion. Good evening, everyone. It's the Bizzy Bee with the Royal Tea. It is the 6th of November. Happy Friday to you. Hope you've all had a great week. Not too stressful. Wow, I have a lot of things I want to get into today, so let's not waste any time, shall we? For today's royal history, I have George IV. Now, he reigned from the 29th of January 1820 to the 26th of June 1830. Signature. And now, the fact I want to share about King George, after political opponents put a tax on wig powder, George quit wearing a powdered wig in favor of natural hair. He wore darker colors than had previously been fashionable as they helped to disguise his size. He favored pantaloons and trousers over knee breeches because they were looser, and he popularized a high collar with neckcloth because it hid his double chin. So shall we say about King George IV that he knew how to dress himself so as to make himself look better? Right. An interesting thing I saw about him as well, when George passed away, the Times captured the public opinion very well by saying there never was an individual less regretted by his fellow creatures than this deceased king. So I would venture to say that George IV was not very well liked. From what I understand, he spent a ton of money, but he did have great taste because he decorated Buckingham Palace, the Royal Pavilion at Brighton. I mean, he was a snazzy dresser. So say what you will about him, he loved to spend money like Smegs, but he did it with the purpose and he had great style. For today's episode of As the Stomach Turns, wah wah wah, poor pitiful me, why doesn't anyone like me? I just don't understand. And after thinking about it today, I really don't understand why people don't like her either. She's done a lot. She took $3 million from Disney on the premise of giving it to help needy elephants. Alright, she's given so much pleasure to thousands of men that their toes curled, and she even gave a select few a nice present to take home to their wives. And she showed up at a school on the anniversary of her mother-in-law's death and planted petunias and forget-me-not seeds, and she even took a photographer to take pictures of it so she could share the pictures with the world and we could all be blessed with her image. So, don't tell me she doesn't do anything for other people. Give me a break. Let's take a look at this. The British royal family says, British royal family news says, at this point, Smegs feels as though anything that she says, does, or even wears will be criticized one way or the other. As a matter of fact, sources close to the nothing of nowhere say that she still doesn't understand why she's had to deal with so much criticism, both in the UK and back home in the US. Here's what you need to know. You see, that was Myrtle. She was agreeing with me. She thinks Smegs is getting a bad rap. She's done way too much for us. Way too much. A source close to Smegs recently told Elle.com royal contributor Carolyn Durand, she's the one that contributed to the book with Omid Scobie, to Smegs' book, the autobiography, Finding Funding or Mooching Freedom or whatever it's called. The things haven't been any easier on Smegs post-megxit, even though she and her handbag decided to pack their bags and move from London to her native Los Angeles in search of a little peace and tranquility. Unfortunately for Smegs, her critics are not letting her have that. Let me stop right there. I was reading a couple of articles in People magazine today and E! Entertainment News, all these stupid publications that kiss up to her, and I was thinking, what don't they get? She moved to LA and quit the royal family for privacy? That's obviously not true. She doesn't want privacy. She's in 3 or 4 Zoom calls a week preaching about this and that. Okay, Why don't these people just get it through their heads? She didn't quit the royal family for privacy. She quit so she could go and make money. She moved to LA because that's where Hollywood is. That's where she can get all the acting jobs and Netflix, etc. Why these publications that write these fluff pieces about her still say that, tribe? I just don't understand to this day. Okay. The British royal family news. Smegs still doesn't understand why everyone is criticizing her. Handbag and Smegs recently came under fire for encouraging Americans to get out and vote, even though royals traditionally stay neutral when it comes to politics. She thought she was saying something relatively uncontroversial, which is people should get involved and vote. One source told the publication, then it gets spun into a whole other thing. There are people, especially in the tabloids, that will use whatever they can to go after this couple. There is no doubt there is an agenda. Agenda. What is that a synonym for? The R word, because it's one of these sources that are close to Smegs, and that's what they try to insinuate. Every negative thing or anything that's not totally kissing up to her is the R word. Well, let me stop them right there, okay? As far as Smegs talking about Americans should get out and vote, that would be perfectly fine because she's an American citizen. She has every right to tell people to vote, and she has the right to vote. However, as a member of the British royal family who is still using her title when she does these Zoom calls, when she did the Time 100 a couple of weeks ago, they advertised her as the Duchess of Sussex. Every one of them she does, they advertise her as the Duchess of Sussex. That's how they get the people to watch. So still using that title to put herself forward in the world and telling people to vote is... it gives off the picture that maybe the royal family is giving her the okay to talk about this stuff, and they're not. That's why it's a problem. If she wasn't using that title and the royal family's money to fund her lifestyle, then it would be okay. But denounce your title, denounce any money that comes from your in-laws, and then you can talk about whatever you want to. Until then, shut up. And handbag... you're not from this country. You have no right to talk about it at all. You're not a citizen. So no matter where you get your money from, shut up about it. Okay, that's my rant about that. Where was I? An agenda. Okay, the Harkles believe in civic action, civic duty, social responsibility, and an element of that is participating in the democratic process. So all they have said is that they encourage people to get involved. Well, if Handbag has believed in this all his life, in the civic duty, social responsibility, and civic action, he's felt the duty to speak about it, but he just now feels the duty to speak about it, but he's felt so strongly about it all his life. No. False. Another lie. Oh, the source said, okay. What they're trying to do with their foundation is pocket all the money that they can, give as little to charity, and take it as another way to fund their lavish lifestyle. What? Let me clean off my glasses here. That's not what it says. What they're trying to do with their foundation is link a lot of the issues they believe in and find the connective tissue. Is she trying to be a doctor now? Is she a surgeon? Oh, Lord. And all of it, and actually find potential solutions. In addition, the source says that Smegs feels as though she constantly has to be careful about what she says. Does she? She might feel that way, which I don't believe she does. I think that's a lie, because if she does feel that way, she certainly hasn't been careful about what she said. She's talked about whatever in the heck she wanted to, and she's talked about the most controversial issues. Lie, lie, lie. Okay, she didn't make any further comments on the matter, but I'm sure she will soon. She's probably got a Zoom call scheduled for Monday. She'll be commenting further then. Stay tuned. A few comments from the last video about Smegs demanding a paternity test, but for whom? One of the people who left the comment on the video said that should be WHOM. Sorry. Apologize about that. Okay, someone said, no, Mrs. Harry Hewitt would not be so impressive. Just doesn't have the same ring as the Duchess of Sussex or Smegs, Markle, Mountbatten, Windsor. No, Mrs. Harry Hewitt. No. I don't think time will be calling for Mrs. Harry Hewitt to come and speak. Hey, Bizzy, we all want a maternity test on Archofficial because there are fresher doubts about her child's origins than good old H. Someone said, I read that singer Adele was the egg donor, but I also read Smegs had frozen some of her eggs years ago. I commented, were freezers invented when Smegs had viable eggs? They weren't around years and years and years ago, were they? Now, quite a while ago, I used to watch the historically accurate television program, The Flintstones. From the best of my memory, I don't recall that Mrs. Flintstone Wilma had a freezer, so I don't think they would have had freezers back in Smegs' time, back when she would have been able to produce a viable egg. So, sorry, think you got that one wrong. She's going to go up and above and overboard. Who does she think she is? She needs to excuse herself on a stick real quick. She's good at that. Handbag is definitely Prince Charles's son. Smegs would chuck him out if he were not, because she would no longer have any title. H was registered at his birth. Handbag Windsor. Does Smegs have a sample of DNA from Charles R. Hewitt to compare? If she did a paternity test on herself, she'd discover she was Satan's daughter. What have we learned today, everyone? Well, I've learned... My tongue is twisted, I've learned so much. I have learned quite a bit, for one. One thing I've learned, some could compare overspenders Smegs and George IV, but George IV had taste, style, and knew how to coif himself so as to obscure his worst features, like his double chin. The only taste Smega has is in her mouth, and she could never dress to hide her worst feature, her two faces. Number 2, Smega claims everything she says, does, and wears is criticized. Everything she says is about the hot button issue of the moment so as to jump on the hip new bandwagon and get her name in the papers. Everything she does is done publicly so as to draw attention to herself and to make a few dollars to boot, while everything she wears is ill-fitting, tacky, and merched on Meghan's mirror. Number 3. There are doubts about Archofficial's origins. He came from the same factory in Taiwan as Barbie, G.I. Joe, and Howdy Doody. Howdy Doody. What is so darn mysterious about that? Number 4. Smegs has an... Oh, my goodness, my tongue is tied today. Number 4. Smegs had an egg frozen? Now that would be a miracle. A frozen dinosaur egg. She can be even more world famous now as the mosquito who starts Jurassic Park. Number 5. Who does Smegs Markle think she is? The white tart from Suits. That's who. Who do you think you are? Number 6. Smega is good at excusing herself on sticks, pregnancy tests, and bushes. Number 7. If Handbag was proven not to be Prince Charles's son, Smegs would drop him quicker than she did her white relatives before the wedding. Number 8. Mrs. Markle doesn't have DNA samples of Prince Charles and James Hewitt. But if you scraped... Oh my goodness, did I say that wrong? Let me start over. Number 8. Mrs. Markle doesn't just have DNA samples of Prince Charles and James Hewitt, but if you scraped the lining of her you-know-what, you could get a sample of every man who's passed through L.A. since 2004. Number 9. I don't know if Smegs could be Satan's daughter, but he could definitely take notes and learn a few things about evil from Mrs. Harkle. Whew, that was quite a mouthful today, everybody. And not the kind of mouthful that Smegs had back in her working days. All right, if you want to send treats to the 3 ladies and 1 gentleman, there's the P.O. Box. Tips are also greatly appreciated. There's the PayPal info. There's my, social media information. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification button. And please, think about all the good things that Smegs has done and consider liking her as well. She really doesn't understand why you don't. And frankly, I don't either. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.